Hey folks, welcome back to our part 2 of security with Gene Scriven right now. Gene, so I just want to kind of continue this conversation about threats that people are facing within the worldwide, the internet community that we have here today. We were talking about password safety, talking about phishing. I want to also talk about one of the issues facing specifically the travel industry, which is unauthorized ticketing. What is that about, and what are some of the steps that, like, you're taking, for example, to help combat that?
Absolutely. So the unauthorized ticketing stems from a lot of sources.
Okay.
The most predominant that we're seeing is, like we talked about earlier, the phishing messages. Agents or other people will get messages. They'll expect that they're legitimate. Maybe they're from Sabre, maybe they're from the agency, or so they think. They follow the links in the messages, they click on them, they enter credentials, and now the bad guys have the credentials. Sometimes it's social engineering. They'll get a phone call where somebody pretends to be from Sabre or pretends to be from the help desk from their agency. Or something like that, get credentials from them, same thing. Now they've got the credentials and they use them. So sometimes it's even a matter just of minutes before those credentials are given away. Before they're out the door and suddenly they're being used for unauthorized ticketing. So we recommend that all of the agencies watch their ticketing queues closely. You know that the types of ticketing that your agency does, you know what to expect. If you see something in there that's not right, if you generally write tickets to Disney World and Disneyland and all of a sudden you're getting tickets to South Africa, that should be a cue to you that something's wrong. Okay, start looking at those.
Yeah, the Prince of Nigeria is coming back.
Exactly, and we've all won that Nigerian lottery 5 or 6 times.
I've got 150 million waiting for me somewhere.
Yeah. So being cautious with the data, being careful with your credentials, the agencies checking the ticketing queues, are just some great things that they can do to help combat that ticketing.
Okay. Well, I guess let's look at kind of a general view of everything. What are some of the do's and some of the don'ts that are facing security right now?
Absolutely. So generally speaking, one of the big do's that we talk about is make sure that you bookmark the trusted sites that you go to. We talked about phishing. We talked about the bad links. The best thing that you can do is have a list of trusted bookmarks. And instead of going to those links in your messages, you go to the links from your bookmarks, and you know that they're legitimate, you know that they're trusted, and you're more comfortable going that way. The other thing that you want to do is anytime that you're entering credentials or other sensitive information in a website, you want to make sure that it's a secure type of login. Now, you know when you enter a website, you've got the http://. Well, if there's a HTTPS in there, or if there's a padlock icon down at the bottom of the screen, that tells you that for the most part, it's a secure login. Now that doesn't mean that the site you're going to is legitimate. It just means that you entering your credentials on that website should be protected in a way that anybody that's eavesdropping on your machine won't be able to
have access.
Exactly. So one of the other do's that we talk about, and this is a big one, is the agencies need to be reviewing the access of their employees. We've got an issue where there's a create agent. When the agency first comes online, that needs to be removed because it's not needed anymore. We need to make sure that all of the employees only have the access within the systems that they need to do their jobs. If they've got more access, that's more to be abused either by the individual or by the guys who get the credentials from them, in a bad kind of way. One of the other big points that we advocate is knowing your data, knowing what data is sensitive, and making sure that when you enter that data, that you put the sensitive data in the properly defined fields in the PNRs. We don't want credit card information, we don't want personal information in fields that aren't protected, that aren't masked. And one of the big things that we push for is making sure that people do put that stuff in the right fields.
Gotcha.
There are a lot of don'ts that we talk about as well.
Give me 2 big don'ts that are out
Okay. Well, we keep talking about it, but it's such a big thing that we need to continue talking about it, and that's don't click on links in messages. If you can at all help it, there's no reason to click on any link in an email message. Now, one of the things that you can do, though, if you find yourself in a situation where you're kind of questioning or you think you need to, is hover that mouse over the link. And when you hover a mouse over a link in a message,
it'll show a little window that says where it's going.
It'll show a little window that says where it's going. And if it's going to a Sabre site or a site that you trust,
it'll have Sabre.com at the end of that.
Right. Then there's a good possibility that it's legitimate. If it's got some crazy name that you can't pronounce with odd characters, chances are it's not going where you think it's going to go, and that's not a place that you want to happen onto. The other big don't is in the event that the agencies suspect any ticketing fraud, do not delay in reporting it. The law enforcement agencies that might be able to help out need an immediate notification of the issues.
Well, I guess that where do you then report it? What is the follow-up action to when you find a breach?
So the first thing that I would recommend is that if you believe that there's been some unauthorized ticketing, is contact the Sabre help desk.
Okay.
And those folks are trained in how to respond. They can let you know whether there's any analysis that can be done on the Sabre side. They can help you lock down things quickly at the agency side. And one of the things that they will do is if there's confirmed that there has been ticketing fraud, is encourage you to quickly contact local law enforcement.
Okay. Well, Gene, thank you so much for being with me here today.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's for me as well. I'm excited to see some stand-up from you sometime soon. And to help you with your security, folks, Sabre has prepared a one-page summary that'll be able to answer all of your questions. So stay safe out there. We'll see you next time.